I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year in case I don't see y'all between now and then. I won't see you before the New Year, but certainly Merry Christmas and, everything like that. All right. I'm just going to get on here real quick because there are things that I need to address, especially as it relates to the news that went down today. All right. First of all, Beyonce is performing, we already know, a halftime at the game on Christmas Day. Okay? Now, anybody who knows me, who has ever known me from high school through college, knows I'm a Beyonce fan. But baby girl, this is strike two. You dropped an album on Good Friday, and this is Jesus' birthday. And miss me with the people in the comments. His real birthday is in August. For all intents and purposes, we celebrate the birth of Christ, okay, on December 25th. Based on the Roman calendar, that's what we do. Okay? So miss me, and you better make it good. No, I'm not worried about concert, tour tickets, and stuff like that. Beyonce has enough of my money. I don't know what this economy going to be like. Nevertheless, please, and this is just a PSA, this is something that just annoys me. All these people who are calling Beyonce a witch, and other people witches too. I'm like, what the hell? Some of y'all are really mentally stuck in the 6th grade. I thought everybody learned that witches and goblins and warlocks weren't real. Okay? Like, it annoys me on a deeper level. Also because, not just because I'm a fan, a deeper level when people are saying that, because what they're suggesting, because there's white people, black people, and other people who say this kind of shit. It annoys me on a deeper level when people are saying that, because they are suggesting when a black woman like Beyonce, who is not only talented, but has incomparable work ethic to human beings on this planet, but certainly in the music industry, that it can't be that Beyonce worked hard. Hard work beats talent only when talent doesn't work hard. But when you have hard work and talent, you can blow them out the water. There are very few people like Beyonce that ever existed. Michael Jackson, James Brown. And we're not talking about even talent on this scale like this. We're talking about the level of work ethic, precision, creativity, that they did not allow to be inhibited. Despite all the structural challenges, even within those industries with that kind of talent, I don't like it. Okay? So what you're telling me is that Beyonce couldn't have worked hard. She couldn't have done it the right way and got to where she is now. We have to give credit to something insane and otherworldly that belongs in a Wizard of Oz. Because to acknowledge black women's hard work is to go against the myth of white supremacy that people love and hold on to so desperately. White people, and then black people who are dealing with internalized racism, I don't like it. Not to mention, I saw some BS on TikTok, and this black woman with color contacts, her credibility should already be shot. But anyway, saying whenever you walk into a person's home and and they just have a ton of books like everywhere, they're a witch. Now let me tell you something. I'm not gonna show y'all my apartment, but I got bookcases full of books. Okay, I worked very hard to get a PhD. I worked very hard to learn history, and I still do that. And I'm gonna tell you why it pissed me off. One, because I keep hearing y'all talk about witches and warlocks like they're fucking real. Two, also, in all seriousness, it's giving stupid. It's giving slavery. It's giving internalized racism. The idea that other black people or black women who read a lot must be possessed by an evil spirit, as opposed to applauding, and yes, I say applauding because education is something that needs to be applauded amongst African Americans. Instead of being applauded, African American women who are, and people who are well read and educated, we can't do that. We'll just say it's demonic. I'm like, cut the BS. Please stop, because it's crazy. It's crazy, and I don't like it, and it's corny. Okay? Just like I'm calling for a moratorium, and I know some people are going to be mad. But these posts on Instagram and stuff, and people are always giving shout outs to, or not shout outs, happy heavenly birthdays, those disturb me. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not because I haven't lost people and on that day I feel differently. But the constant heavenly birthdays for me, I just need y'all to come up with something else. Okay, because we have had too much loss in the 2020s and people having personal loss. It just seems like, to me, I don't like it. I don't like it. It rubs me the wrong way, and I don't feel the need to explain myself. All right, anyway, Luigi, Luigi. Luigi, who apparently is even taking away the fame from the Mario brothers, who's been with us since the 80s at least. Luigi, I know you didn't get your ass in a New York courtroom today and plead not guilty to murder. I know you didn't. But you did. But you did. Now, people see you as a hero in many ways because the CEO of United Healthcare helped along directly or indirectly the deaths of many people by denying coverage that people pay into. And I do believe that, yes, that CEO and everybody else at that top who have allowed that to go on in this terrible system where this has gone on and on and on and on for so long, that's why people are applauding him. But and then for people to try to check, oh, the American public who feels this way, but you refuse to check the billionaires, the millionaires, all these people who have benefited from the loss of lives. I don't see that same energy for Jordan Neely, who died for no fucking reason, and for his murderer, Daniel Penny, to now be invited to hang out with Trump and J.D. Vance, because they are already letting you know that killing black people, which black people know, but I'm saying they are reinforcing this is what's supposed to happen to you. They're supposed to get off, and then we're going to reward them. Just like we did that crazy white boy in Wisconsin that shot them other 3 white people who were protesting for Black Lives Matter. Nevertheless, okay, but if you're going to write a manifesto, Luigi, as to how the health care system is screwed, and that, you know, you don't want to waste taxpayers' money, time, the feds, you appreciate what they do, all this other stuff, and you're going to do that, get caught at McDonald's, go into custody, and they are still calling you an alleged killer. Now, we know they would find a whole nother way to word that this person was black, okay? Actually, matter of fact, this case would have come and gone already. And you claim not guilty, which means you trying to go to trial. Baby, you wrote a manifesto, okay? Now, you better do, Luigi, if you're going to play this game, you better do what most never do. You become a defendant who gets on the stand at his criminal trial. Every lawyer says to avoid that. You don't ever want the defendant on there for these criminal trials because the slightest thing can indict them because they have something to prove, whereas the prosecution gets to accuse. I mean, they have evidence, but they get to play a different game. And when you do go to trial, you got to give us a show. You got to entertain us with something else, because saying you're not guilty is a wild to me. After you done wrote out that you're guilty, you pleaded not guilty, okay? And when you do admit that you did this, maybe because you want to finally get the spotlight and the show, call yourself a martyr for the cause, or something that makes us believe you really believed what you said, and therefore that's why you did what you did. You said you didn't want to waste time and resources. And then you get your ass in court. And as a taxpayer in New York, just let me tell you something. What they do to my check is completely unethical. Okay? Because your white ass has money and lawyers. And now you're scared. Your family's scared. After they was okay with denying people certain kinds of rights in Baltimore. And let me tell you something. They didn't have to say it directly. The denial of certain things that his brother was advocating and their family was advocating was basically black people not having access to this, that, and the other in the city of Baltimore. Okay, so we already know, and I've already said that in another video about having taught students at the school that he graduated from. Anyway, and now it seems like you're hoping you get off on a technicality. All right, speaking of people that have murdered their bosses, Nathan Mahoney murdered his boss in Muskegon, Michigan. All right, we heard about that last week. Last Tuesday around 9:30 a.m. And he is the alleged killer. I should say alleged. Nathan Mahoney, let me start over. Allegedly murdered his boss in Muskegon, Michigan, okay? At Anderson Express Inc., which is a manufacturing company. Last Tuesday, based on a report, the suspect allegedly stabbed Denslow, that's his boss, in the side with a knife before fleeing the scene of his vehicle, and he was apprehended in 15 minutes. Now, I'm saying this because People magazine said this was a possible copycat murder. Let me explain something to you. Also, his co-workers have said, even told police, that he had a quiet demeanor at work. Okay? Police have not yet established a motive. But the whole idea of the copycat, it's like when people think, and I know this because I've experienced it, and I don't want to get into too much detail because it hurts. Where people, were explaining to me when a student committed suicide in the 8th grade. And we had to hurry up and figure out what to do. This was during COVID, and how to, work with the kids on this. And they were saying it's very rare that other children will like commit suicide, or another person will commit suicide because somebody else did. That's not really a thing. So, because so many of us were worried, like, well, will other kids model it? And it was a real child psychologist talking to us that they brought in. And I'm going to tell you, the copycat part is what's bothering me, because these people are still fucking missing it. That man, possibly, we don't know, he's still an alleged murderer, could have been perhaps influenced by Luigi, but Luigi got caught at McDonald's. What I do think people are missing is that people are very angry with their bosses. They're very angry with the way they're being paid, with the lack of healthcare coverage that they even offer, that you still are taking a big lump of your check that goes into that to ensure that just in case you get sick, this company will provide for you. Then they start telling you what they're not going to do. Okay? There's a resentment for the level of control bosses have in this country, and I will always disproportionately side with labor, because employers do not protect their employees. They'll get rid of you and keep on going. And it still is giving, even in the way they're telling the story. The worry is that the bosses, the millionaires, the top guys, the people who would be in a high tax bracket, excuse me, are the ones in danger, as opposed to me as a black person walking past the NYPD and my heart starts beating on a daily basis because I know they're not there to protect me. These people are not experiencing the same thing. And instead of addressing the resentment American citizens have for their employers because of the lack of regulation on what they're allowed to do to us, knowing we have to work to make livings, that's the real issue. So people.com and everybody else who's saying it like that, as if there isn't this resentment echoing throughout the country, that is not why somebody just got up one day and murdered that man. It's not a copycat murder. That quiet demeanor part also made me go, all right, now, to get to why I even did this video, Matt Gaetz, and I have been somebody who was on that. I am against trafficking. I am against people molesting children, and really advocating for young women who may be right on the edge of womanhood, who are scared to come out, and also bringing awareness, because so many, in particular African American girls, do not get that support, and we are losing black girls. I mean, like being murdered, like Naziah Harris in Detroit, and I did a video on that. And the Cyntoia Browns, the Piper Lewises, all of these people who we're ready to blame the parents, so on and so forth. And it's wrong. And I feel like the reason why there's not as many laws against it is because there are a lot of men who engage in this, who make the laws. And so therefore we don't see it. Now, the thing about the House Ethics Report coming out on Matt Gaetz, which is damning enough in my eyes, is that they originally were not going to release this because they lose jurisdiction once a member resigns from Congress. But there has been a precedent of times, even though they've been very few, where they do actually release ethics committee reports to the public when they feel like people need to know. Now, mind you, this is a 10-person committee. They were deadlocked on whether to do this or not. 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats, which means that something at some point in this process, in the past few weeks, there's either some information, some change of heart, some really thinking about the impact of this, that one of those representatives said, this is a danger if we go and not say anything about it. And I want to tell you, one of the things that I think is also damning about this is Joseph Biden's Department of Justice, who was withholding information over and over and over again from the House Ethics Committee because they said they didn't want anything unless they had certain kinds of laws, this and the other. These are other representatives that are required to do this. Joe Biden's Department of Justice is doing the withholding of information consistently about this man. So to me, at that point, we need to ask these questions, and it is lending credence, whether it's true or not, lending credence to why is it that the Department of Justice found the time and energy on certain allegations with the Diddy's of the world who deserves to be under the jail, don't get me wrong, and other people, and he's letting his son off. He's pardoning, Joseph Biden is pardoning people that to me don't need to be pardoned, like the judge who was selling kids like into jail, knowing they didn't do anything and getting a payback for it. Why is he being pardoned? That was a damning thing to do. And he's affected lives and parents' lives. But those kids aren't being pardoned. Like, you see what I mean? Like, this is some bullshit. The guy from the BMF in Atlanta being pardoned. Are black people supposed to be happy when a gangster gets let out? I mean, maybe some of them are, I'm sure, but miss me with the fake shit. Free Mumia Abu-Jamal, okay, who was wrongfully accused of killing that cop, just like they did Asada Shakur before she escaped to Cuba, but this is later. They didn't like his politics. He's a Black Panther. H. Rat Brown, former Black Panther, went and built a grocery store in the community in Atlanta. Really put all this stuff into practice. And now he was accused of killing somebody. They have said over and over again, even in the state of Georgia, in those courts, that there is not any evidence that he was the one that carried out this murder. And he's still in prison. That man is in his 80s. So miss me with the bullshit, because there's bullshit somewhere. And the gag is what I've always said, they're all in it together. All black people have is us. Okay, so anyway, let me tell you something. I am not one, when the resources are available, that I just go to basic newspaper blogs or whatever who have a word limit to get it across to the American public who does not like to read. When a report like this is, one, public information, Salah Johnson read directly from the PDF. Okay, so I am not 42 pages of it, because I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about and I was not depending on anybody to interpret it, especially since I have access to it. Okay, because I don't think these sort of things are a joke, and I don't want anybody telling me what I should think. Okay. So this began in 2021. I mean, the actual investigation, April 9th, 2021, the committee announced it was investigating a series of widely reported allegations relating to Representative Matt Gaetz, okay? On November 14, 2024, Representative Gaetz resigned from the House after the president-elect announced his intention to nominate Representative Gaetz for the position of the United States Attorney General. Do y'all know what the Attorney General does? It says which cases need to be reviewed and who needs to be prosecuted and not prosecuted under federal law. He was going to be the guy in charge of it. This is the same guy who asked for a pardon ahead of time for crimes he wasn't even, crimes he had not been officially charged on before Trump left office. Now, you got to be a guilty motherfucker. Now, please know, while we're talking about Joseph Biden's pardons, oh, Matt Gaetz is going to get one. Oh, he's going to get one because he carries on this racist stuff. And let me tell you something. Right now, this is, I'm going to finish with the report. But all these people, all these conservatives, and conservative in many ways is just another word for racist, but okay. Conservatives who say people don't need abortions, and we should cut that out. Women should have children. The same people who will let that baby die without food and proper social resources and economic resources for a mother who had to carry a baby to term, who could not afford it and wanted an abortion, those same people aren't going to protect these same minors. Okay? Because let me tell you something, and it was evident with the Epstein stuff, it's evident with the R. Kelly stuff, and anybody can be trafficked, don't get me wrong. But they go after disproportionately, even with the West Palm Beach, East Palm Beach stuff. They were trafficking girls from the poorest side of town because they knew they were less likely to have resources. They knew if anything went down, the police was less likely to protect them. They knew that. Same thing with R. Kelly taking those girls from the south side of Chicago. It's the same game. And it's exploitive. All right, anyway. So let me get back to where I wanted to. All right. So now, the committee's findings. Like I said, I'm reading directly from this. The committee did not find that Representative Gatez violated federal sex trafficking laws. Okay? The committee did not obtain substantial evidence that Representative Gatez violated federal sex trafficking laws. Transportation of an individual for the purposes of commercial sex, paying for sex, could violate such laws if the individual was a minor or if the sexual activity occurred through force. Representative Gatez was alleged in a news report to have paid a minor to engage in sexual activity and to travel with him to the Bahamas in September 2018. However, the youngest person who traveled with him and his associates was 18 years old at the time of the trip. First of all, barely legal. It sounds like somebody who just graduated high school. Further, this is a report, I'm not making this up. Further, she and other women who attended the Bahamas trip did not recall being paid for sexual activity on that occasion. One woman testified that she was not paid for sex on the trip, although she did have sex with Representative Gatez because, quote, the trip itself was more so the payment, end quote. Footnote 122. Y'all see this? And go and look for it yourself. I'm sitting up here reading the PDF from the House of Representatives. They were coerced. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay? Now, the committee found that Representative Gatez did engage in commercial sex. Okay? So, they got these people. Now, mind you, the 17-year-old girl, the payment or whatever that people have alleged, y'all do realize the man he put in charge of Venmoing that payment to that girl is currently in jail for this. But Matt Gaetz isn't. Miss me. Okay? So, anyway, the committee found that he engaged in commercial sex. Now, we all know that he probably ain't the only one in Congress, but nevertheless, they say there is substantial evidence that Representative Gatez paid women for sex and had others pay women for sex on his behalf. The committee heard testimony from over half a dozen witnesses who attended parties, events, and trips with Representative Gatez from 2017 to 2020. Nearly every young woman that the committee interviewed confirmed that she was paid for sex by or on behalf of Representative Gatez. A few of the women characterized their relationship differently, describing a date for hire arrangement that may not necessarily implicate state prostitution laws. All right? Now, when I said the same thing about trafficking, so on and so forth, the information, because the whole point of me bringing up Joel Greenberg, the guy who was paying apparently the 17-year-old on his behalf, and him being in jail, is because the Department of Justice, the U.S. Department of Justice, was withholding information from this ethics committee. And they were like, we did everything through the process. We were like, we have done investigations before. Why are y'all holding this up? Because I guarantee you somebody in that space is guilty of the same shit. That's what I can say. Okay, that ain't in the PDF. That's me. All right. And they said Representative Gatez, he was refusing. He was asked to come to, what's the thing? It's not an inquisition. It's the deposition for Congress. He straight up did not appear. Other people who don't appear get a warrant for their arrest and are in jail. Why is he sitting in Congress and he don't have to come for his deposition? But he's carrying on in Congress about people who shouldn't make statements on Black Lives Matter, how DEI is terrible, and how black people is. It's always them, okay? It's always them, all right? And all these people, I guarantee you, them same people who know abortion and we need to protect the life of the baby don't give a damn about that 17-year-old girl. And let me tell you something, with these kind of situations, where there's one, there's 21. So far, that we know of. Okay? Miss me with the BS. All right? Now, the committee's record indicates that Representative Gatez enticed and procured women to engage in sexual activity for hire and purchase the services of women engaging in sexual activity for hire in violation of Florida state law. Yes, because that law is probably for poor people. It was supposed to be for Representative Gatez. Now, for Representative Gatez. Third, findings, and I'm reading under the findings. It's only 42 pages, by the way. So the committee found that Representative Gatez violated Florida's statutory rape law. Here we go. This is a quote. I'm reading this to you. There is substantial evidence that Representative Gatez engaged in sexual activity with a 17-year-old girl. The committee received credible testimony from victim A herself, as well as multiple individuals corroborating the allegation. Several of those witnesses have also testified under oath before a federal grand jury and in a civil litigation. Representative Gatez denied the allegation, but refused to testify under oath. He has publicly stated that victim A doesn't exist, end quote. And that he has not, quote, had sex with a 17-year-old since I was 17, end quote. Footnote 125. The committee found that to be untrue and determined that there is substantial evidence that Representative Gatez had sex with the victim A in July 2017 when she was 17 years old and he was 35 years old. Representative Gatez' actions were in violation of Florida's statutory rape law. Mind you, this is the House Ethics Committee. Now, is this somebody who should be on trial and should be impeached? Should have been impeached? Absolutely. But I just want to point out that this is Joseph Biden's Department of Justice, which means those screwed up individuals in there are protecting something as well. Okay? Because y'all kept withholding information. That's why the committee is writing this in this way. There's substantial evidence, this, that, and the other. This is just the ethics committee. The fuck out of here. This stuff makes me mad. All right? And the committee found Representative Gatez used illegal drugs. Now, this is once again, we know there's probably plenty of them people in Congress, okay? So there is substantial evidence that Representative Gatez used cocaine, ecstasy, and marijuana. Now, why do I have a problem with this? Yes, I think drug use is bad all across the board. And it's not good for people. But my thing is, these are the same people, okay, that still want to keep these stringent laws around drugs. These are the same people that think laws apply to black people to have them locked up. And then they engage in this stuff on a regular basis because they have money. They can cover it up. If they have money and they're white, then somehow it's not intrinsic to their human being. The way black people are just, that's just what they do. Kiss my ass. Okay? So at least 2 women saw Representative Gatez using cocaine and ecstasy at different events. Footnote 129. Even more women understood him to regularly be using ecstasy. A drug addict is a drug addict is a drug, and he acts like one. When you see him going on those highs and like that kind of stuff, okay? There is also ample evidence that Representative Gatez purchased and used marijuana. Now, this stuff wouldn't be a big deal if you weren't in one of those conservative states that deny people the right to use it and then lock them up for a long time. Your dealers must be pissed. All right? Evidence that Representative Gatez purchased and used marijuana. He appears to have set up a pseudonymous email account from his house office in the Capitol complex for the purpose of purchasing marijuana. First of all, sir, why are you purchasing marijuana electronically using the House of Representatives Wi-Fi, knowing that everything you do as a representative is public information, certainly when you are at work? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, what the hell? And you using hard stuff. All right, anyway, so the committee found that Representative Gatez violated the House gift rule. There is substantial evidence. Mind you, y'all, this is all the direct report, Freedom of Information Act report, okay, given out by the House of Representatives. I'm not reading anybody's article, okay, because I like to look for this stuff myself, because I don't like other people telling me what I'm supposed to think about certain things. Okay, there is substantial evidence that Representative Gatez received impermissible gifts and in connection with his travel to the Bahamas in September 2018. Specifically, Representative Gatez accepted travel via private plane and other travel costs. Okay, Eric Adams. Contrary to Representative Gatez on claims that he provided substantial evidence to the committee demonstrating his innocence on this allegation, he provided no evidence showing how he paid for any travel costs other than his flight to the Bahamas, despite being given multiple opportunities to do so. So here he has been uncooperative with the House Ethics Committee while publicly, because they say this in the report, while publicly stating the contrary. No, I've given them everything. This is, they're after me, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, and they were deadlocked in whether or not to even release this report. Somebody, somewhere, I can't, and this is just in my imagination, somebody got hold of some more information that sent them off the edge, because them Republicans had to be holding down for them, and we don't know exactly which way certain people voted. He tried to threaten somebody on that committee, okay, especially with Trump coming in feeling his oats, and somebody said, "The hell with it, fuck it, I don't care, enough is enough." That's what makes me think, because we know that people do certain things, but this being with underage girls or girls at 18 and you like late 30s, early 40s, there's no reason for that. Just like when people say Cassie's a gold digger or was a gold digger, she met Diddy when she was 19 and he was like 36. What the fuck does a 36-year-old want with a 19-year-old? I am literally 37 years old. I just turned 37 last week or week before last. There is nothing that would cross my mind about looking at a 19-year-old in a sexual way. The only thing that I could do with a 19-year-old is mentor them and serve as their teacher in some capacity. Like, that shit is sick. Okay? So the committee found Representative Gatez dispense special privileges and favors to individuals with whom he had a personal relationship. Didn't see that one coming, considering all the other stuff y'all have found. The committee found substantial evidence that Representative Gatez used the power of his office to assist a woman with whom he was engaged in a sexual relationship in obtaining an expedited passport. The woman was not his constituent, and the case was not handled in the same manner as similar passport assistance cases. And then it goes on, and the conclusion is, based on the above, the committee, this is straight from the record, the committee determined there is substantial evidence that Representative Gatez violated House rules and other standards of conduct prohibiting prostitution, statutory rape, illicit drug use, impermissible gifts, special favors or privileges, and obstruction of Congress. The committee made no special oversight findings in this report. No budget statement is submitted. No funding is authorized by any measure in this report. So, while everybody's on their morality kick and how this economy is going to go up, this is who Trump was going to put in authoritative position. And had it not gotten so bad, like you couldn't get the Republicans to say anything, a lot of them to even say anything out loud, because it's a whole lot of infighting, but it's a cult. Like, you go against Trump. And we've seen it with the Democrats. The Democrats are weak. The Democrats don't stand up for anything. They were going against Kamala because they just did not want a black woman running office. And we all know, well, not we all know, because clearly some people don't study civics. The vice president only has as much power as the president gives her or him. That's why you see, like, other vice presidents not become president, because they're not necessarily set up for success. Joe Biden could have won in 2016 if he would have gone on the Obama momentum, and then in his arrogance, he just had to do it in 2020 when he was half dead. And it's just, this is going to be a mess. This is going to be a mess. But I like to make sure that these kind of people, that we're reporting on them so this doesn't go under the radar, because this is absolutely unacceptable, and it makes our society even more unsafe. And certainly when these people hold political power, because he resigned from Congress because he thought he was going to be attorney general. And I could totally understand why he thought he would be attorney general with this administration. But this is who we dealing with. Anyway, that's my piece. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to transition. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to y'all soon enough. All right? Enjoy your families. Bye.